Welcome back to the Dethroning Your Inner Critic YouTube channel. This is the space where we peel back the layers of conditioning and self-doubt and never enoughness to remember who you really are beneath the voice in your head that says, you're not ready, you're not worthy, or you're not doing it right. So I'm Joanna Kleinman, psychotherapist, transformational coach, CEO of the Dethroning Your Inner Critic coaching company, and the creator of the Mind Method. And today's episode is going to land deeply because we are not just talking about mindset, we're talking about energy and about how you show up, not just to your goals or to your to-do list, but to your soul's calling. So let me start with something personal. For many years, even as I was chasing my dreams and I was doing the work and I was taking steps, I was in a constant state of pushing. And I couldn't stop stressing about whether my dream would actually come true. And I was constantly comparing where I was to some ideal version of where I thought that I should be. And because of that, I never really felt proud of what I had already built. I couldn't be in awe of how far I'd come or how much I had already grown and transformed, and not just in my business, but within myself. So I'm wondering if you can relate to that. So there are pieces of my life today that were once just distant, almost unimaginable dreams. But instead of living in the energy of awe and joy and expansion, I found myself caught in the energy of overwhelm and anxiety and scarcity. And I was always trying to get to the next thing without really letting myself feel the miracle of the present moment. And that's why I'm sharing these 5 powerful shifts with you today, because it's my mission to teach you how to stay in the energy of joy and awe and love and possibility while you're still in the process, while you're still following those quiet whispers of your soul, because that energy is what actually transforms your life. That's what makes you magnetic. And that's what radiates out to everyone whose lives you touch. So let's dive into these 5 shifts. Number 1 is to reignite the spark of your soul. So if you want to feel more alive, more fulfilled, you actually don't need to become someone new. You need to return to who you were before the world told you who you should be. And that's the part of you that remembers joy. That's the part of you that lights up when you dance for no reason, right? When you wander without purpose, when you let yourself play. Most of us lose touch with that spark pretty early on because we're taught to seek approval and to chase worthiness and to keep up with the world's expectations. And that creates disconnection. And mostly it's disconnection from ourselves, from our joy, from our soul's truth. Now, this is not about going back and revisiting your inner child. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your soul spark, your original essence. See, that's still in there, but you have to get quiet enough to hear the whisper of your soul. Now, when we engage in activities that spark joy without attachment to the outcome, what's interesting is we activate the dopamine reward system in our brain. Now, that's the part of your brain that fuels vitality and creativity and expansion. But when you're stuck in survival mode, that system shuts down. So the moment that you stop long enough to listen, and that could be taking the walk, It could be singing out loud in the car. It could be learning something just because it delights you. You start to shift your entire energetic field. I recently started taking piano lessons again. I had not touched a piano since I was 13. And the idea came as a whisper, and I didn't act on it at first. And then out of nowhere, I met a piano teacher at the gym. And that's how it happens. The whisper comes, and life meets you when you follow that whisper. Now, joy is actually a frequency of energy, and love travels on that frequency. And love is the most powerful energy that there is. So that leads us to shift number 2, which is to clear the subtle energy leaks. Now, we know the obvious energy drains: poor sleep, bad food, too much screen time. But the real energy leaks are actually very subtle, okay? They're the ones that you've normalized. And that could be the constant self-judgment. It could be overthinking and analyzing every next decision or every next action, right? It could be the obsession with signs that you're on the right track, or timelines with the right how it's supposed to go, and seeking that external validation instead of trusting your inner knowing. Now, these aren't just bad habits, these are survival patterns. This is your inner critic's way of keeping you safe by keeping you small. And here's the cost: you leak your power, you drain your focus, and you silence your intuition. So, from a brain science perspective, when you're stuck in fear or uncertainty, your amygdala is in overdrive, and it keeps you in a loop of vigilance and reactivity instead of clarity and calm. So if life feels heavy or stagnant right now, ask yourself, what am I feeding my energy to that's actually draining me? So this is your warning sign, your blinking red light to let go of what no longer serves you. And not just the obvious things, but the invisible things that steal your peace. Because the quieter your life becomes, the louder your truth will speak. Shift number 3, shift your focus and you shift your reality. So your focus is your power sauce and your power source. Whatever you focus on expands. And most people are unconsciously focused on everything that they don't want, which keeps us in the energy of fear and lack and what's missing and what's not working and worst case scenarios that might happen in the future. Okay, but here's the thing: your reality reflects what you expect, not just what you desire. So that means if your nervous system is calibrated to stress and survival, then peace and abundance and flow feels foreign, even if they're right in front of you. So when you shift your focus towards beauty and trust and alignment, right? And you start believing that everything that is for me is already on its way, and I don't have to worry about what that is. I just need to follow the breadcrumbs. Then you start to expect more. And that starts to create your new normal, your expectation that life is bringing you all that's for you. And that's when your life begins to rearrange itself to meet you at that frequency of energy. That's the energy of trust and ease. That's where abundance meets you. So just remember that reality actually takes time to catch up. So what you see now in your current reality is actually just an echo of your past energy. So don't mistake a delay for a sign that nothing is happening. Keep living as the version of you who already embodies joy and peace and power, and speak from that version of you. Think like that version of you. Move like that version of you. Let that version of you lead. And that is literally how you collapse time, because that's how your future becomes your present. Which leads us to shift number 4, which is surrender is really the time bender. So let's talk about surrender, okay? Most people are addicted to effort. They think the harder they push, the faster they'll get there. But resistance is actually what slows down time, because your resistance signals to the universe, I don't trust that it's already mine. So surrender is choosing trust over control. Surrender is saying, I know who I am. I know what I'm here for. And I'm willing to allow. So when you surrender, your nervous system relaxes. And trust me, from somebody that used to not have a relaxed nervous system, this is a fundamentally different life that changes everything, because your brain stops scanning for threats and you open yourself up to higher levels of intuition and creativity and divine timing. Now, for many of us, especially if you're somebody that's earned your worth through struggle, ease can feel unsafe because you're not used to quiet and you're not really used to things flowing. Now, that's not because you're broken, but it is because you're healing that part of yourself. So the truth is, the moment that you surrender with certainty, life starts moving faster than logic can really explain. And you no longer chase, you receive. So this leads us to the 5th shift, okay? And that is to let abundance feel safe. Now, this shift lives deep in your body. It lives deep in your nervous system, because if you've spent your life in survival like I have, true abundance is going to feel unfamiliar to you. It might even feel threatening. Okay. Most people think they want abundance, but the moment that it begins to show up, right? And it might show up as ease or rest or expansion. Now your inner critic self is going to step in and whisper, this isn't going to last, or people are going to judge you, or you don't deserve this yet. You're not working hard enough. And so, very unconsciously and automatically, you shrink, and you might even self sabotage, and you might even settle for something less than what you're dreaming because it feels more safe. Okay. Not because you don't want it anymore. Okay. But because you don't yet feel safe having it. So here's the radical truth. Abundance is our natural state. It's not something to hustle for, it's something to remember. And so true abundance feels like stillness. It feels like space. It feels like freedom in your breath. So if you've lived your whole life in adrenaline and improving, that calm might feel like nothing's happening, but it is. And that's where life starts to reorganize around your newfound worthiness. So choose again and again and again to let abundance feel safe, to rest without guilt, to take a nap in the middle of the day, to rise to your next level without apology, and to receive that abundance without proving, because the real you, your authentic self, was never meant to just survive this life. Your authentic self was meant to thrive. So these 5 shifts aren't just about mindset, they're actually energetic recalibrations. They are about shifting how you see so that you can remember who you really are. And when you do that, when you choose presence and trust and awe and alignment, you don't just change your life, you change your energy field, and that changes everything. So if this video resonated with you, please share it with somebody that you love. And if you haven't already, take my free inner critic assessment. You can go to innercriticassessment.com, or it's also on my website, dethroningyourinnercritic.com. And that's your first step to seeing clearly so that you can finally live freely, because you're not becoming someone new, you're returning to who you've always been. Thanks for watching today.